Hey kids, it's your Uncle Bill. How you doing? Great! I'm doing good as well. And you know what? I got a story for you. You like stories? I love stories. Today's story is by yours truly, me. And it's called The Woodcutter's Daughter. Now, as you may remember, we have had other stories about woodcutters. Now, this woodcutter is a nice woodcutter. He would go out every day and take his cart into the woods and he would chop down wood. And his daughter would stay at home and she would sharpen the axe heads and mend every little patch of hole or whatever was on his shirt to make sure he had enough clothes. And she'd make his lunch and she'd make dinner. She took care of the house and she was really good at it. But she kind of wanted something more. Now, every night her father, the woodsman, would bring home a big haul of wood that he would sell every weekend at the market in the village nearby. Now, this daughter wanted to marry a knight. She saw knights when she went to the market in the village, and they would ride by in their white steeds with the burnished helmets and the sharp swords, and they looked just amazing, like they could protect her and provide for her, and she could be a damsel or a lady in waiting, and just live off their wonderfulness, eating grapes and cakes, and living in a castle. It would be wonderful. She thought this was the best idea ever. She did not want to marry somebody like her daddy who had to go out and work all day and then come home and make her work all day. That just wasn't what she wanted. She did not want to work at all. But she didn't mind doing it, and she was good at it when she had to. She just needed to get a leg up. She needed to get out of this mess. She needed to find her man who could provide her everything. Sweep her off her feet. Make her feel like a real genteel lady. Now, one day, a knight came by the house, and he was kind of sweaty and tired, and he said, "Hold the house!" Now, the girl knew she wasn't supposed to let any strangers in, but he was a knight, and he must be chivalrous and strong and worthy of appreciation if he was a knight. So she said, "Why, hello, Mr. Knight, what can I do for you?" And the knight said, "I am weary. I've been going on so long, and now I need some food and I need some rest. Can I trouble you for your hospitality, missus?" And she said, "Well, I'm not a missus. I'm a miss. But of course I would love to provide you with anything you want. We have food and water. You can rest your feet up by the fire." And then I said, "Don't mind if I do." And he pushed the door open and walked in and sat in her daddy's chair. And he said, "Where's the food?" And she looked at him like, all right. And she put some food on his plate. And he ate it all. He was so hungry. And she put some more food on his plate. And he kept eating it. And she kept putting it on the plate. And you know what? By and by, all the food was eaten. He ate every single thing they had in that house. And then I put up his feet on the chair and went to sleep. And she had to clean up the whole mess because she had cooked so much that day. For that night, he ate it all. And he got up around dinner time and he said, "Well, miss, I best be on my way. I really appreciate it." And she said, "Okay, bye." And he just walked out, took his horse, and rode away. She thought to herself, that wasn't really a nice night, per se, but I'm sure I'll find a nice night, an amazing night, a beautiful night, a night who will care about me and my feelings. But that night sure didn't. Now, just a minute after that night left, she heard her daddy say, "Oh, the house, Daddy's home." And she went out to her daddy and said, "Oh, Daddy, you know what happened today? a gnat came by and he ate all of our food. And the woodsman said to his daughter, "What? He ate all of our food? Really?" And she said, "Yes, the cupboard's bare, the pantry's bare, we got no more food left." And the woodsman said, I got something which will help us out until the market. Give me 1 second." And he walked around the back of the house and he dug up a rock and he lifted a big sack of potatoes that he had put in the canvas bag. And he said, "All right, honey, here's some potatoes. We'll have to make do with that. And I got some jerky here. We'll make do with this until we go to the market." And the woodcutter's daughter was like, "Wow, Daddy, you are so good at planning. We'll have food this week because of you. Thank you, Daddy." And Daddy was like, "Don't mention it, honey. Just be careful next time a night comes by. You're a great girl, and I really appreciate that you're so kind to people who need it." And his daughter just thought to herself, "Wow, my daddy's a really great guy. All right then." But she kept daydreaming, and she was thinking of her knight, and she kept saying, "Oh, that knight who is out there somewhere, he's gonna come and sweep me off my feet and take me to his castle, where I won't have to do anything at all, and I'll just be waited on by servants and get to watch wonderful magic shows and plays, and I won't have to do a thing except what I want." And she kept scrubbing his clothes and knitting the holes and making dinner and lunch and sweeping out the house. Now, it came to market time, and her daddy, the woodsman, was carrying his firewood on his back, and they were walking along the road when all of a sudden they heard a thundering brum, 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 brum. And they looked behind them, and almost on top of them were a bunch of knights and their horses, and they ran off the road. And the knights just rode past without a sorry or an excuse me. And she thought, that wasn't very nice of them. And then she looked around, and there was a wolf, a starving wolf right in front of them. And her daddy saw that wolf, and he picked up his axe, and he ran at the wolf going, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, get away, get away." And that wolf took one look at them, and he ran the other way. And the woodcutter's daughter, her heart was beating like, oh my goodness gracious. She settled down a bit as they kept walking in, now that the wolf and those speeding knights were taken care of. And she thought, man, my daddy knew just what to do, and he saved us from that starving wolf. And she thought then again, well, if I had a knight, he would have had a sword, and he would have skewered that wolf with his sword. And they kept walking to market, and they set up the stall, and he said, "All right, daughter, you sell our firewood, and I'm going to go around and buy some things, and then I'll come back, and you can go buy some things, all right?" And she said, "Okay, Daddy." And he did. And just as soon as he left, you know what happened? A young knight with dashing golden hair and a clean-shaven face. He didn't have no mustache or stubble. He looked beautiful, and he had nice golden flowing robes and a white armor, and he looked just amazing, like an angel. And he came up to her and said, "Well, hello, miss. I'd like you to have this flower as an appreciation of your beauty." And he gave it to her, and she was just all to Twitter, and she said, "Oh my goodness gracious, me oh my, what a beautiful man with beautiful words. Thank you." And the knight said to her, "Don't mention it. I just wanted to be near you, to say how much I care about you." And all of a sudden, her daddy came up behind her and said, "Well, hello, Mr. Knight. What can I do for you?" And the knight said, "Well, I was just here conversing with your daughter and telling her, that she is very very nice. And the woodcutter said, she is rather nice, isn't she? All right, converse. And he sat there and watched them, and he waited for that knight to say something. And the knight didn't say a thing. He said, he didn't know what to say. So finally he said, it was nice meeting you, Mr. Woodsman. Thank you, and have a pleasant day. And he walked away. And the woodsman's daughter was like, why'd he do that? He didn't stay around. He didn't have anything to say to me. Maybe Daddy scared him off. Daddy, why'd you scare him off? She said. And the woodsman said, well, you know, he looked real nice, but I just wanted to make sure he had the best intentions for you. That's all. He didn't really seem to care much once I was there. And she thought about what her daddy said, and he was right. And then the woodsman said, but don't worry, honey. You don't need a knight. I've got a plan. And he said, I've got this present for you. And it was a beautiful blue dress with tassels. And she said, oh my goodness, Daddy, that's a most amazing dress. And he said, you're welcome, and I got one other thing for you. A knife, so you can defend yourself. And, you know, peel apples and things. And she said, wow, Daddy, this is an amazing knife. It's beautiful. Thank you. And he said, you're welcome. You're my daughter. And you know what? I thought those two things would be mighty appropriate come tonight when they're having a dance. And she said, Daddy, really? I can go to the dance? And he said, of course you can. And you can wear that beautiful dress. And she did. She went to that dance that night, and she did every weekend for a whole year. And she met a wonderful young man who was the apprentice to the blacksmith in that village, and they got married, and they had all sorts of babies. And the woodsman would come visit them every weekend, and he would play with the little ones, and they would smile and laugh and tell stories. And it was a beautiful life. The end. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great day.